everyone, and welcome back to Roast Scale Sandbox. Now today I've got some interesting things planned that you guys are not going to want to miss, so make sure you stick around for that. And if you missed any of the recent streams we did, I finished off all of the scenery in this whole area along with the landscaping over here, which is why today we are moving on from this valley. Now in my very last stream, I don't know if you guys saw, I made this, which is a very English style detached house. Now, I don't know how many of you were here, but my thought process was if I could make a couple of these sort of blueprints, then I can copy and paste them around the whole map and we can build up towns very, very quickly. So, as you might have guessed, the first thing I want to do is build a second blueprint. First of all, I'm going to copy over the grass base plate. And I actually want this to be a semi-detached house, so I've made it wider. Now we need to add in the border fences, and maybe these could be a wooden planks instead of brick. Now onto the base of the house, which I think should come a little bit further forward. And I'm also going to use a different block for the second layer, as I think it'll be nice to have another dual color thing going on. Now, if you've ever lived in the UK, you'll know that these types of semi-detached houses have these circular bays going up the middle, and that is what I'm going to try and recreate now. And the bays are also going to need these wooden trims. Now, before I do the impossible task of trying to put windows on these bays, I am first going to put the doors in here and here. Now, we need a couple upstairs windows for each of these houses, and I think I'm just going to copy one of the ones I built over here. And now comes the moment that I've been dreading, is putting these windows around the bays on the front here. So I'm just going to use a copy of one of the double windows again and just see how this goes if I rotate it. Okay, and after a bit of fiddling, I think I've got it looking quite nice down here on this window. So now I've just got to do the same for here, and then copy it up to the top. And suddenly we've got a house that's starting to look really quite nice, actually. And many of you guys may know that this isn't an English semi-detached house without all of the window beams being white. So let me do that quickly. Now that is looking so typically British. I'm so much happier with them being this white color. Okay, so before we move on to the roof and finishing the building off, I want to get the front gardens and driveways in. First things first, we're going to need a dividing fence. And I'm also going to pull this out to the back garden as well. And just like this house, I'm going to build some sort of driveway to go on each of these. And there you have it. That is one front driveway finished. And now I just need to do this on the other side. And I've just put this one in slightly differently, just so we add a little bit of variety to each of these houses. So now I want to add the patios out the back. And again, like the driveway, I'm having this at a different orientation, just so each patio looks different for each house. And I've left a little gap here because I want there to be like maybe a little flower bed. But for now, let's come back out to the front and finish off these front driveways. Maybe one of these homes could be home to a few rocks. And I'm also just going to use these bushes to add in a little hedge at the front. And finally, let's add some grass to this house out here. I also feel like I should probably do it at the back here as well. But first, I do want to add some props back here, and I think it would be really cool if I could put a little trampoline. And maybe in the back of this house, I could add some sort of vegetable patches. You know what? I'm really, really pleased with the way those two beds look. I could even add maybe a line of these shoots to sort of show that something is growing in here. Now I'm going to add a few more trees here and there. And now I think we can put the grass in. One garden down and one to go. Okay, so now I can go back to finishing off the house. And first of all, I'm just going to copy over these doors onto the back here and color them white so they match the front. And now I'm going to do the same for these windows. And this semi-detached house is really starting to take shape now. Oh, I almost forgot. I do need to put some stuff on the sides here. So all of that is now done. And the final thing I need to do is just add a roof on. Now, this might be quite tricky due to the bay that we've got going on and how the roofs of these types of houses are done in real life. But I am going to try my hardest. So these types of houses always have these triangular roofs on top of the bays, and then they sort of morph back into the front back gable roof of the house that we've got going on here. So that is what I'm going to try and recreate. And actually, I don't think I've done that too bad. So now all that's left to do is to add on the actual roof layer itself. And I would say immediately that roof just completes that house so well. I'm so Yeah, that is looking really, really nice. There's one more thing I want to do, and that is just take this trim here and pull it up to the top so we get a separation between the circular bay and the triangular roof. And I feel like that has made all the difference. I'm so happy with this. These two are looking so nice. Now, I do want to go and make one more blueprint, but I don't want to bore you guys with it again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and build it off camera, and then I'm going to show you the final one. And once I've done that, we can actually start, you know, putting them around our map and building some really cool towns with them. So I'm really excited for that. So I have finished the third and final blueprint, and as some of you may have guessed, it is a terraced house. Now, these terraced houses, like the semi-detached houses and the detached houses, are very, very common in the UK, and you'll often find them on roads just stretching out forever and ever and ever, just these long terrace houses. And I've done some detailing in the back as well. This one has got another shed, this one's got another trampoline, and a very common staple of terraced housing is the fact that they don't have any room out the front for parking. They're very, very small, quite cramped, but they do have quite large gardens. So this is the terraced housing, and what I've also done is built this one out of a different block to that one, so that as I copy them, what I can do is change the color like that, and immediately we get some differentiation with the different houses. And as I copy these along to make nice long rows of terraces, I can change the color of these so that we don't get the same repeating pattern all the way down the road. So now these three house types are done, I feel like we can start placing them in. And the first thing I want to do is have a road coming up from the main entrance of this station here, which will be around about in the center of this platform. And this road is just sort of going to come up here and up the hill like this, following the train track. And lining this road, I want to put a whole load of houses going up the hill, so that the gardens are backing onto the train line. Obviously, I'm going to keep these blueprints here because I might need to copy them and add them in other places in the future. So the only problem with doing it on the slope is I am going to have to, when I build the road, deal with stuff like this. But that should be okay if I sort of bring these down and have a slope coming off and then have the road a little bit further back. And there we've got two identical in shape but looking completely different houses, and straight away, just like that, you can create, wow, like this, that is a row of houses right there. Like, look at that. That is so typically British. Like, this is like the exact what you'd find of a row of British houses. There is, however, one slight downside to this, and I think you guys can already see this has absolutely killed the frame rate. And I was planning to make like whole towns with these blueprints. Like, I feel as fun as that would be, I really have got to watch the frame rate. Anyway, putting that aside, there is one final thing I want to do, and that is sort of clean up the back area here. And I'm going to do that by just adding in a sort of concrete wall as a sort of retainer, because also the grass was showing a bit, and we don't want that. So by pulling that back to about there and colouring it concrete, we've got ourselves a nice little retaining wall, and that has sort of cleaned up this edge quite a lot. So unfortunately, that is all I have time for today. I will go away and think about whether I want to continue using these, and I don't know, we'll see what this does to the frame rate. A little heads up, in our next episode, I'll be finishing off this station, as it's, you know, not looking the best right now. So if you don't want to miss that, make sure to subscribe, make sure to like the video, and I will hopefully see you again very, very soon. Goodbye.